Hi everyone, my name is Jason Nurse and I'm an Associate Professor at the University of Kent in the UK, and I am also the General Chair for this year's ICWSM conference. So welcome to all of you. Now what I'll be doing in these opening remarks is presenting a little bit about the conference. I'll be telling you about the program and what we have planned, and I'll also be telling you about some kind of key highlights focusing on things like the keynotes, the panels, but also saying thanks to all the persons that have been involved in planning this conference over the last 10 months. So I ask you to sit, bear with me, and thanks for joining us, of course. Really appreciate your time and spending this time with us over the next few days. I appreciate that Zoom fatigue is a reality these days. So thanks once again for joining us virtually. So now I'll jump right in. The first thing I want to talk about before I actually get into kind of the meat of things is really to talk about the excellent registration numbers and the excellent participation that we're seeing this year. So of course it's a virtual conference, and of course Zoom fatigue is a reality, but what I'm really happy to say that this year is more or less the biggest ICWSM conference thus far. We have about 406 persons in total signed up for the main conference and for the workshops. So you would know that things are split slightly. And that's as of the 3rd of June, but every day I see numbers gradually increasing. So that's really positive. And it really is great to see, even in the situation we are in now globally, that still so many people have signed up for the conference, have made this the biggest ICWSM yet. Some key highlights that I really want to point to, though, which I think really make us happy on the organizing committee. Firstly, 218 thus far, first timers at ICWSM. So a massive welcome to everyone, but also especially to those first time attendees. And over 60, around about 60% of attendees being first time attendees is really incredible for any conference. It really shows a significant amount of potential for growth. We also have a number of countries. We have 36 countries is my last count. Just under half of participants are from the US. We have a reasonable amount from the UK as well. And actually notching out Germany, so usually Germany is in the top 3. We have actually India with 6% of participants. So that's great to see. We also have people from Brazil, Colombia, Chile, Ghana, Israel, Kenya, Namibia, Philippines, Sri Lanka, and many more countries. So that's brilliant to see, and welcome to you all. We're looking at 6 continents this year, which is a slight increase on last year, 5 continents, but a massive increase on last year. Once again, is the number of institutions involved. So we have 230 institutions across the globe attending this year's conference. So that's excellent to see. And once again, welcome to you all. So I'll jump right into it. And I first want to say kind of a big welcome, but also a massive thank you to the kind of core organizing team. And of course, everyone on the organizing team is core. But there's been some folks that have really worked really hard over the last few months to really push for the conference, push for the planning for the conference, and those individuals you can see right now on the screen. So thanks once again to Kenny, to Afra and Ella, the PC chairs for this year's conference, and to Kokil, Amy, and David. Thank you to all for kind of pushing forward the virtual component of the conference and trying to make this conference and actually making this conference really an exciting and incredible experience. And I'm sure everyone will kind of enjoy their days. And if you're a participant and you're looking out for key people to kind of tag and maybe have a chat to, definitely start with these 6. Of course you can speak to me as well, but they're really looking forward to engaging with all of you over the next few days. Now, I also have to say a massive thank you to the kind of events on the 7th. The 7th, the day just before the main conference, the kind of workshop tutorial data challenge day is massive, and it's growing year on year. I have to say a big thank you to workshop chairs, Oana, Daniel, and Katya. Did a brilliant job, and here you can see, and hopefully a number of you had a chance to attend the workshops yesterday, which were really great, awesome. So there were 8 workshops, 4 full day, 4 half day, and covering a breadth of topics. And we will try to get some workshop reports available soon after the conference. So you can also see, if you haven't had a chance to check the proceedings or to attend, you'll be able to see kind of a wrap up of the main topics covered and discussed. We also had a number of excellent tutorials, and thanks to Jason, Shovik, and Xiaomei for this, and for kind of ensuring that we had a good set of tutorials on. So we had 3 main tutorials, while looking at hate speech, looking at engagement ethics, and also looking at AI. for cybersocial threats and public health. Also great to see these different topics, and they kind of speak to the heart of ICWSM and what it is, and actually kind of also the kind of educational component. And then lastly, looking at the data challenge, thanks to Gianluca, to Gita, and to Kai. They've really pushed forward things, given we had a little bit of challenges with the data challenge, interestingly enough, but they really kind of pulled out all the stops to ensure that the day still went great for all those involved, and excellent for a number of participants. So thank you very much to these individuals. And of course, anyone, if any of you are interested, any of the attendees out here, and you want to reach out to them directly, I'm sure they'll be around across conference days. We also have, so of course we have full papers at the conference, but we also have kind of data papers or data set papers, and the key people that have been involved in this, which I want to thank, are Sovas, Dong, and Duncan. And then also, so they've been quite key in kind of managing data set papers, and of course working with the PC chairs to ensure that that all kind of works out well, and I'll talk a little bit about that later on. And then I also want to thank Talia and Keenan. Keenan being the web chair, and Talia kind of looking over all things kind of social media and social, and you'll have a great chance to catch up with her over the next few days as well. I'm sure you'll see all of them and the wider team. Now this year we did something quite different. We introduced DEI chairs to the conference, to the program committee, sorry, to the organizing committee. And this was kind of a big step for us because, and this extends upon the excellent work that was done last year and previous year's ICWSM conference, where we recognize the importance of ensuring that diversity, equity, and inclusivity are stressed and emphasized in every year's conference, and making this really a conference that is accessible and open to everyone across the world from various backgrounds, wherever you're coming from. This is a conference, if you're doing research on social media and computational social science, this is a conference for you. So one thing we've tried to do this year is to broaden that out and to involve to recruit 5 new chairs that have really supported us this year in our efforts towards, building things like accessibility from the ground up in the conference. And so once again, thank you to Franciele, to Nemal, and to Amira, and to thank you to Dako and Panayotis or Panos for your excellent work so far. And once again, I'm sure everyone will be looking forward to having a word with you at the conference. Of course, we have to thank our sponsors, but you can't kind of just jump to thank the sponsors. We also have to remember that there's kind of an in-between person that has been really keen on engaging with sponsors and trying to ensure that everything we do and the key contacts that we make that can help with the funding of the conference, that can help with the engagement of the conference. So thank you to Kieran for that, kind of being our kind of key and middle person to actually kind of recruit an excellent set of sponsors. As you can see here, here's all of them, and you'll have a chance to engage with them in the sponsor hour, which you'll see in the schedule if you haven't seen it yet. So thanks, Kieran, for that. And then also, our ears and eyes on the ground over the next few days will really be the student volunteers. We will be there as well as organizing committee, but when it comes to student volunteers, a massive thank you in advance to them for volunteering, for engaging, and for being excellent so far. And also a massive thank you to Emma, really, for being kind of the head student volunteer, but also the key interface, critical interface between the organizing committee and then also kind of the various tasks that would be great to get students volunteers involved in, both in the main conference and for the workshops, but also even leading up to the conference itself. And here you can see the list of student volunteers. And of course, it's a AAAI conference. Massive thank you to AAAI, to Carol and Stephanie. They've supported us for a very long time now, and we really appreciate that. Answering us at all times of the day. So really appreciate that. And thanks so much for your support of the wider conference. Now, with that, I'll kind of introduce a little bit of the kind of main program introduction. So you might have seen so far that we kind of have 2 ways in which we're running the program this year. We have kind of a deluxe option and we have a light option. And the reason we did this is because we recognize that for some individuals, potentially you're kind of dialed into the conference and you don't necessarily have time to kind of strictly dedicate to the conference, or maybe you just prefer to check it out on your own time at your own speed. And that's why we have the light option. And I'll go on to talk a little bit about the light option now. But also before I jump into that, there's also the deluxe option, which is the option that is essentially if you have time, you can be there live, and we do invite you to do this. Then you can engage with us live. You can check out the amazing space that we've created, or spaces that we've created, and you can engage with us as much as possible, and also with your peers. So if I go into first looking at the light version of the conference, that's composed of two main components. Firstly, there is the main website, and sorry, I should say the main virtual website, and that looks something like this, as you can see on the screen now. And the key thing is that here you have sort of like all of the basic information that you'll need just to actually view and engage with the conference and the conference content. So here you can see the schedule, you can see information on keynotes, you can see papers, panels, you can reflect a bit on the workshops that have now concluded, the tutorials and so on, and the data challenge. So if you missed those, there might be links in which you can, for example, jump to workshop papers, or maybe even follow with tutorial organizers or data challenge organizers. And there's also, of course, an FAQ. Do check that out, help in FAQ. And then, so this is kind of the main website, and that's how that looks. But probably most importantly, what you really want to be interested looking at is this. And this is really the schedule. And there's some really amazing things about the schedule. And there's a detailed video on this actual website, which you have a link to. So I won't go into that in great detail. But the key thing to recognize here is that there are a number of talks, there are a number of keynotes, there are a number of key kind of sessions, so kind of spotlight sessions. So spotlight sessions kind of show the kind of best papers at the conference. And then from those are the ones that we actually determine the best paper of the conference. But you'll recognize a number of sessions, a number of simultaneous sessions, and it's really up to you to kind of jump in and jump out as much as you want. Now, one of the benefits of this website is that you can watch videos, you can engage with content, all just from this website. Is completely up to you. But we also appreciate that sometimes you might want to engage with others. You might want to post a question, to presenters, or just check work, collaborate or engage with your peers. And that's why we also have had, we have Slack, a room, or not room, we use Slack for this purpose. And here you can actually see, you can post questions to keynotes, you can post questions to speakers, and then they can actually respond and engage. So that's kind of one way in which you can engage, and that allows you to kind of interact a bit more live. Now, the deluxe feel really is kind of where we explore a GatherTown. So many people might have heard about GatherTown before. It's a quite popular platform now, especially when it comes to virtual conferences. So we have a GatherTown space. I think it's amazing. I think the team has put in a lot of amazing work in creating it. And thanks to Virtual Chair for actually working with us on that. And the good thing about the GatherTown experience is that you can engage with speakers live, avatar to avatar. You can chill out with others in kind of a nice kind of green open garden space. There's a plenary room, there's a spotlight room, and there's a number of different poster rooms in which you can actually go and engage with speakers live. And that's kind of one of the great experiences we think, which is why we kind of call it the deluxe version. And this can be accessed via the links that we've already sent to you. Now, in terms of papers, of course, we have quite a number of papers this year. But first, I just want to say thank you briefly to all the persons that have been involved in the kind of the reviewing of paper. Well, firstly, of course, the submission, but also the reviewing of papers and going through that really to ensure that we kind of get the highest quality papers for the conference. And of course, in support of that, thanks to Jaren, Miyang, Daniele, and Li Xing. Thanks so much for all of your support. These are the editors-in-chief at the conference, or ICWSM. So thanks very much for all of your support to the whole team involved in that. Now, to briefly give some information on the stats, and this is something that will come up a little bit in the panel that's directly after the opening remarks. So do please check that out for more detail. But as you can see here, the numbers are roughly, if we kind of park January 20 for a minute, the numbers are roughly around 25% or so, which is kind of what we've come to expect for the conference over the last few years. So this is great to see because it also ensures that we kind of have a good number of high quality papers. But of course, one of the key things with the conference, of course, now that there is the R&R ability, it gives authors the ability to kind of, if their paper needs some reworking, they can actually do that and submit it in the next cycle, so they can actually have another chance to put forward and clarify anything regarding their research. For the short paper track, here are some general stats about this. So there are a number of different posters, demos, and dataset papers. These numbers are, roughly speaking, similar to last year. So there's not many surprises here, but it's really great to see that the number in some ways is jumping for different types of papers. You know, it's always great for the conference to have more papers, which also helps, of course, boost the quality, but also the diversity of research that's on showcase. There are a number of excellent keynotes, is probably the only word I can say to describe it. I'm so happy and it's kind of overjoyed in many ways to say that we have Rediet Bebe, who's from UC Berkeley, so University of California, Berkeley, talking about technical and humanistic perspectives on data inequality. It's great to have her here, kind of conveying her research. You know, this is, I'm sure all of you have heard about Rediet before, so it's really amazing for Rediet to be here. So please do check out her keynote. And we also have Virgilio Almeida from UFMG in Brazil, but also kind of the Berkman Klein Center at Harvard. Looking at, and the title of his presentation is All Paths from Blogs to Social Media Point to the Need for Digital Governance. So I hope you can see here that, and also Virgilio, of course, excellent speaker, internationally well known. So we really have we've went all out to kind of find, you know, an excellent set of speakers for you, who will be, of course, great to engage with during the conference. We'll be taking Q&As and all this kind of stuff. So please do check it out and come along at the respective times. We also this year have introduced a number of panels. So one of the big things about panels, one of the big benefits about panels, is that panels are dedicated to specific topics, and they really kind of try to push forward the community in many ways. So the first panel, the Publishing and Research panel, which is a panel that will be later on the day from the opening remarks, really looks at, you know, what is publishing at ICWSM look like, what's the behind the scenes look like, and give you some type of insight there. And we think this is especially important given the number of some first timers at ICWSM this year. We also have an excellent panel on women in computing. And this also will explore, of course, this really important topic to us, looking at women in social computing. I shouldn't say computing, in social computing. And that's also really great to see. And I should mention, actually, we have a number of people involved. That some of the names that you would have seen before in the Publishing and Research panel. So you can see that's made up of editors in charge and PC chairs that I've mentioned before. But also that's moderated by James. And then for the Women in Social Computing panel, we have Eni moderating that. And that has just you know, amazing set of panelists. We have Lada, we have Miyong, we have Munmun, Natalie, and Sandra being on that panel. So that's great to see. And then lastly, on the last day, we have ICWSM and the Global Research Community panel. And this really looks to kind of push ICWSM's research and kind of extend ICWSM's community to the international, you know, as to be more international, let's say. I really take a critical look at the research that has been conducted, who's been conducting the research, and what can we do to better build the community internationally. And that panel has Anicia, Francisco, Brooke, Kokil, and that will be moderated by myself. So please do check these out. We think that they'll be a great experience and lots, I think, to learn and to discuss. Now, of course, you know, it's a conference. You know, many of us come to conferences, especially for the social component. It gives us a chance to engage, to meet others, to build our networks. We of course, this is a virtual space, but we'd still want to respect that and give people enough downtime to engage. We believe that Slack is good for this, but also that the GatherTown space will be especially good for this. So you can see that we've built in a number of key social times. So you can see some on the left-hand side is the kind of main program. On the right-hand side is the replay. Which this more information on this you can find in the virtual conference website. And the key thing here, should I hit that as well? The key thing here about these sessions is that some of them will be led by ICWSM organizing committee members. Some of them will be free. But the key thing here is to allow you to actually engage and bump into people as you walk through GatherTown, avatar to avatar, and extend your contact networks. Now, don't miss, of course, Town Hall. You are ICWSM. So Thursday, 10th of June, 6 till 7 p.m. UTC. That's when the Town Hall is, so please do come along. We also have the award ceremony, which will probably be in the 6 till 6:30 slot within this, or just before this. So do please come along to these events where we can actually discuss ICWSM, frankly. We're on social media, which shouldn't be a massive surprise. But one thing that we've done this year, which I've seen a number of people take upon, which is excellent to see, is we've kind of toyed with the idea of kind of badges. So, a badge, as you can see an example here, really kind of presents a bit about who you are, and what's your role at the conference. And, you can use this to engage with others, and people can see that, oh, you're at the conference now, and so on. And we'll post information about how to create your badges in the Slack channel. And of course, if you're tweeting, you can at ICWSM, and you can also use the official ICWSM hashtag, which you can see on screen now. Now, lastly, but probably most importantly, it's really important, the virtual space is a great space. It allows us to still engage at the conference, even though we're all of us are miles apart. But one thing we want to emphasize at the conference is, we have a strong code of conduct. As is kind of mentioned here, we expect that individuals will follow this code of conduct. We expect that individuals will treat others respectfully, that individuals will accommodate others where and whenever appropriate, and to ensure that this conference is in many ways a safe space for everyone attending. And that's very, very important to us. As such, and you can find out more information about the code of conduct here or any of the websites that we have it kind of prominently displayed in terms of what we expect and how we expect individuals to behave at the conference. If there are any issues that come up, we want to emphasize that these should be flagged up to us as on the organizing committee as appropriate. There's a number of different ways you can do this. You can do this either directly to us or anonymously using a web form, which you can find once again on the ICWSM page. And the number of key people that you can reach out to as and when appropriate, as you can see right now on screen. But once again, we really want to ensure that this conference is a safe space. So also, if you see something happening and someone hasn't reported it, feel free to flag it up to us. And that's it, really. Thank you very much for attending the opening remarks. Special welcome once again to the over 200 first timers at ICWSM. It's amazing to see you. So everyone, welcome. And thanks again. And I will see you over the next few days at the conference. So please do enjoy. See you later. Bye.